Hi guys, welcome back to my Take a Break series where we answer questions from the Readers to the Rescue section. So this issue is issue 27, 2nd of July 2020. So before we get into it, these videos aren't particularly doing that well on my channel, so this might be the last one that I do for a while unless those videos get picked up and they get more attention. So I might be bringing out a new series next Friday, which will be a little bit different. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, if you have enjoyed these and you would like to see more, then please let me know by writing in the comments and leaving a like on this video, and I shall do more. But as of now, this will be the last one I'm doing for a while. So the most prominent story on this page is called "He Wants to See Other Women." So let's go in this and unpack it. When we met, my husband was in an open relationship where both partners were free to see other people. He left that life behind to settle down with me. 5 years on, he says he feels trapped and wants to experiment again. This isn't something I want, but I worry he'll leave me if I say no. Well, it seems that you are clearly with a guy that wants to be in a polyamorous relationship. I guess what you need to do is you need to weigh out the pros and the cons of being with someone that's polyamorous. So obviously the pros might be for you that perhaps you could experiment with other people and see other people, but as you've stated, you say that this is what you don't want. So you obviously want to be in a monogamous relationship. I guess what you need to sort of talk about with yourself, is how happy you will be if this happens. Like, if you allow it for him to happen, how will it make you feel? Will it make you feel suspicious? Will it make you feel jealous? Will it make you feel sad? Will it make you feel anxious? Will it make you worry? What are those things that are going to negatively impact you if you stay on with this polyamorous guy? And I'm guessing you're probably not going to be all that happy. And I guess what you need to figure out is the relationship worth it? Is he worth all of that pain? Now, the thing is though, there are plenty of guys out there. So what it seems to me that the problem that you may have is you may have a scarcity mindset. And basically what this means is that you're afraid that you're going to end up alone and you're not going to find anyone better, or you're not even going to find anyone. But what I want to reassure you is there are plenty of nice and available guys out there that want to be in a monogamous relationship. So it could be just that perhaps your husband is perhaps having like a bit of a midlife crisis and he is just wanting to feel youthful again. So it might be just something that perhaps he thinks he wants but he doesn't actually want. But you can't really know that. You have to sort of treat people that you're with like they're always going to be that way. And that's something I've said quite a lot especially more in my older videos. I said, when someone reveals to you who they are, believe them. You have to know and understand that potentially your partner is always going to be the same person. They're always going to have the same bad habits. They're always going to have whatever it is inside of them. If they are capable of being a cheater, they're always going to be that way. There's no way that you can change someone. And I know it's shown a lot in the movies and TV that women can change their men, or men can change their women into this sort of like box them in and make them into this perfect person in their mind. But that's not how it works in real life. I once had an experience, which I talked about in a previous video, when I was in a past relationship. My ex-girlfriend, she told me within the first few months, I always mess up my relationships. That's what she said. And guess what? During our relationship, she continually messed it up. So when people reveal themselves to you and tell you who they are, you have to believe them. You can't change them. So take those red flags to heart, because they're there for a reason, and they're making you suspicious and they're bringing up all these issues for a reason. Okay, so I know he's your husband, and I know that divorce is terrible, and Perhaps keeping up appearances won't look great because, let's be honest, if we're committed in a committed relationship and that relationship falls apart, we don't just worry about finding someone else. We worry about what everyone else in our family and our friends are going to think of us because we got a divorce and our marriage has failed. But trust me, the true failure is to be miserable for the rest of your life, both of you, because you're in a relationship that doesn't match your needs, wants and desires. That is true failure. A lifelong unhappiness and suspicion and trust issues is way worse than getting a divorce and looking bad in front of some people. Okay, so you need to really weigh out the options that you have and see what are you willing to put up with, basically. So the next question is a bit more of a sort of like a, so the next question is not one that is the most prominent on the page. This is, I guess, the next popular question or whatever. And it's called, I cheated with his stepdad. Ooh. Last year, I made a stupid mistake and slept with my fiance's stepdad, who is divorced from his mum and single. We agreed to keep it a secret, but now he's pressuring me to tell my fiance. Should I come clean or try to persuade him that it's best for everyone if we kept quiet, or if we keep quiet rather? Well, I guess it depends how much this is going to eat up at you. See, if it was me, I personally would want to know. I would want to know that if I had been cheated on, because that way I can go out into the world and find someone else. Pretty simple, right? That's how I see things. Because I've been cheated on in the past as well, I want to know. And it's like really, really painful when you find out and you're reeling from the effects of it for months afterwards. But ultimately, it's shaped me into a better person, and it's shaped me into someone that's just really got into personal growth and all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty much, if that hadn't have happened, I would have still be, if they hadn't have told me, I would probably still be in that relationship, and I probably would never have met my now fiance and be having the life that I have now. And I really like the life that I have now. I really like the person I've become since that relationship. I guess the thing that you're probably most worried about is that you're going to lose your fiance. But, you kind of lost him the moment you did that. And if an opportunity like that comes up again, there's a chance that you might actually take it, because cheaters usually stay cheaters. Sounds like you should be with the husband of the lady's question I just asked. You need to be perhaps maybe in a more polyamorous relationship, or perhaps you need to be just need more time to grow and become more of a better person before you go into a long-term committed relationship. But if I were you, I would tell him and then see what happens, because the truth will out at some point. You can't keep these things a secret for a long time, especially if the stepdad thinks that you should tell him. These things don't stay quiet for very long. It's going to rear its ugly head, and you can't just brush things under the carpet, because the more you brush things under the carpet, the more dust you keep under there, the more skeletons you have in the closet. One day it's going to get so much, it's going to get so big that it's just going to start revealing itself and make a mess everywhere. So it's better to do this now while you still can. And perhaps then perhaps he'll stay with you, perhaps he won't, but at least you would have been truthful, because this is going to be eating up at you. The guilt is going to be eating away at you for your entire relationship, for the rest of your lives, if you do get married. And like you said, he's your fiance. So if you are intending to spend the rest of your life with this person, you need to understand that this guilt is going to follow you every single step of the way. And life is pretty darn long, okay? It's going to be with you like a ball and chain. And what I would recommend you do, if you really believe that you would never cheat on him ever again, or never cheat again in another relationship because you know how bad it is, then I suggest that you tell him. You tell him, and then you perhaps need to find a new relationship where you've learnt your lesson, perhaps even a better relationship, who knows. He can find a better relationship, or he can deal with whatever it is, and you two can somehow try and mend the fragments of your relationship. And maybe his love for you is strong enough that you guys will stay together. But from my personal experience and what I've learned about relationships and dating and all that kind of stuff, relationships like this don't last long when this cheating has arisen in the relationship and the trust has gone. So yeah, there's a high chance you will lose this guy when you tell him, but it's the right thing to do. I can only go from my personal experience and what I believe, but yeah, you need to be honest with him, because it's going to eat away at you. And one day it's just going to rear its ugly head and he's going to blame you for not even telling him, not even being truthful. Because it's worse to be cheated on. It's pretty bad. In fact, it's horrible to be cheated on. But it's even worse finding out that you've been cheated on from someone else and not the person who cheated on you with, you know. So at least give him that respect and that to actually tell him what happened. So let's get into the last question, which is the least prominent on the page. And it's called, I can hear them arguing. So recently a young couple moved in next door to us. The walls are paper thin and I can hear them screaming at one another almost every night. Once one of them punched a wall so hard I thought a fist was going to come through. I want to get involved, but my husband says I'd be putting our family's safety at risk. Well, if this was me, I would get involved, but I wouldn't actually go around and knock on their door and say, is everything okay? So for me personally, I would tell someone, but I just won't tell them directly. I'll tell someone else about it. Like I would call the authorities, perhaps something like social services, but I would call someone in authority to deal with this, like the police. So yeah, I would get involved, especially if I thought that there was like violence going on, right? Like actual proper violence. So that's my recommendation for that. I would get involved, but I wouldn't be direct. I would get someone else to do it, like call the authorities, because you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know what's going to happen. And if you have got a family, then yeah, I guess in a way you could be putting them at risk if you poke your neck out and get involved. So I would get involved in a more indirect way to try and get it solved, because obviously there's something amiss there. But also you don't want to get your family involved too much so it affects them or it hurts them in some way. So that's my advice for that. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, this will be the last one that I'm doing. If you have enjoyed these videos though and you want me to continue making them, then please leave a comment down below and give a like on this video. And if you would like to get in touch with me personally and you would like coaching, mentoring, any kind of advice, then please head over to www.christineloveridge.com/shop and we can see how we can help you. Anyway guys, thank you very much and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye guys.